Honestly, right, the whole curry puff, right, I only eat the crust. The inside, right, if I don't have my mother with me, right, I throw away.
No way. What's more important to you? Filling or crust? Choose a side.
For me, it's the crust.
Crust.
Yes.
Adam?
You know, I was going to say crust also, but the more I think about it, the predominant flavour comes from the filling, and that is what you will be enjoying the most.
Gotcha. And Hui, why did you say crust?
I think people might hate me for saying this, but honestly, right, the whole curry puff, right, I only eat the crust. The inside, right, if I don't have my mother with me, right, I throw away.
No way. We should eat curry puff together then.
For epok-epok, right, because it's smaller in size, so to me, right, the filling I can actually eat. Because it's not too much. It's not too overpowering.
I'm the opposite of you.
Really?
I was going to say for me filling, because I don't eat the crust anyway. I'm the kind of guy who will peel off the crust.
But the sides are the best though.
I'll enjoy one bite at the side. The rest of it will go to the bottom of the plastic bag, unfortunately.
Okay, interesting.
I agree.
With curry puff being a very local snack, do you think so that the local Singapore flavour that we bring to overseas, do you think people appreciate it as much as we do, or do they need to adapt to the flavour or the taste of the local people there? You know what I mean?
It's very hard for us to say, right? I mean, we grew up eating mushy potatoes in curry puff, and for us, that's nice. But when you think about it from a point of view of someone else's taste buds, I don't know if people might find it a little bit like soft on soft, or carb starch on starch. I don't know.
But I think that goes for every food that we have over here. When we go to other country, right, we definitely need to adapt to their people's taste bud and everything. Yeah.
Does epok-epok not exist in Malaysia?
I'm sure it exists. You can probably find, but it's not as common.
Yeah, it's not common.
Exactly.
That's true. Looking back, I haven't really seen a lot of it.
For me, that makes it even more that even though we are so close, but it's still more a Singaporean thing.
Let's go back to earliest memories. I mean, assume that we all grew up in some way or fashion with curry puffs. What was your earliest memory of eating or seeing a curry
My
puff?
favourite curry puff is downstairs, my house. The makcik selling epok-epok. I always go down, I buy 9. Then I bring back home, then we eat. I myself, I eat 3. But the crust only.
Only the crust,
So I always get like a soggy curry puff in a plastic bag at the school canteen. So I used to, during recess, I play basketball a lot. So I just play basketball, and towards like the last 2 minutes of recess, I run to one of the stalls and get like a curry puff, or in that case, it was epok-epok.
Okay.
That was in primary school?
Primary school, right? And then I'll slide it into my pocket, and then I'll eat in class.
Ayo.
As the teacher turned her back to write on the board, I'll pull out and then I'll eat. Right?
So epok-epok is probably my earliest memory of having a variation of what we refer to as curry puff. I used to love having mainly potato. Maybe I didn't really appreciate sardine back then.
Sardine always spicier than the potato one.
Sometimes, but back then sardine was really sardine, not like more onion. Nowadays,
now it's very onion heavy.
There's a lot of debate about is it more onion than sardine, or because the filling is so little. That majority of it is empty, it's just air inside.
Okay.
I want to know, and I'm very curious here, what constitutes a curry puff and what is not a curry puff? So let's just talk about Old Chunky. There's so many of these puffs in the display there. The filling is a creamy chicken mushroom filling.
Yeah.
Is anything that looks like that a curry puff, or is a curry puff got to have actual curry powder inside?
Honestly, to me, anything that looks like a curry puff is curry puff to me.
Oh!
So it's based on the look.
How you know what's inside until you open, right?
But you also won't know because you won't even bite into the filling.
That's true.
I'm just kidding. So it actually makes sense. If you want to look at it from that angle, right? Just keep it simple. Based on looks. Then I think it makes a lot of sense actually. For me, right, they've never called the variations curry puff.
Very wise.
Right? They've always said, even the sardine one, they call it sardino. Technically, they never really labelled it as a curry puff.
Very interesting topic. You know the story about the Cornish pasty and why it's shaped the way it's shaped. And maybe
tell me,
somehow what we're eating today is inspired by that. So it was all these coal miners engaged in a day of hard labor underground in the coal mines. And they would pack these Cornish pasties with them. Imagine you're a coal miner, your hands are black. They could not wash their hands or wipe their hands. So they would hold the pasty by the crust. Eat the middle, and then whatever was stained on the crust, they would not eat the crust.
Get it.
So it was built for you to technically not eat the crust.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's like the handle.
And that Cornish pasty eventually traveled the world and inspire things like samosas and empanadas.
Global
and
inspiration.
Yeah.
And also maybe because we're always rushing, right, as Singaporeans, we always like to get like something that's like quick to go and everything. So for me personally, I never sat down to have curry puff before. For me, it's always like
on the go,
tango, yeah. Even if I buy from an Indian store, right, it will be from the oven, then I take, then I chao.
Okay.
And just eat while you're walking.
Correct. No sambal, no nothing.
It is a handy snack. It's technically the meat is already pre-packed for you in the pastries, and you enjoy it with your drink of choice, whether it's a hot drink or a cold drink. Settle the kettle.
Settle the kettle, there you go. When was the last time you heard that line? Okay, the curry puff is a classic in Singapore's street food world. Crispy on the outside, flavorful on the inside. But if you dig into where it came from, the curry puff story gets pretty interesting. Historically, it shares traits with the Cornish pasty, the Portuguese empanada, and even the Indian samosa. There's also the Malay-style epok epok, a deep-fried crescent pastry filled with rempah spiced potato or sardine, usually without curry. Its journey to Singapore stretches back to the colonial era, when Portuguese and British pastries made their way through Southeast Asia. These European half-moon pastries eventually landed in Singapore's melting pot kitchens, and that's where something new was born. Local cooks began folding in spices, chili, and curry, blending Western technique with Malay and Indian flavors. Slowly, the curried pastry as we know today started taking shape. By the early 1900s, curry puffs were already part of everyday life. Sold in local shops, at community gatherings, even served at festive parties and hotel events. They became one of those snacks everyone recognized regardless of background. And then as the years went on, the puff evolved in different directions. In the 1920s, Polar Cafe helped to popularize a baked version. It was buttery, flaky, and influenced by Western pastry traditions. Meanwhile, the good old fried curry puff, with its short crust shell and crimped edges, became a true hawker favorite. Later on, brands like Old Chunky helped to take the curry puff global. Handmade, neatly crimped, and fried to a perfect golden brown, the snack became known internationally as a taste of Singapore. New flavors began appearing too: sardine, black pepper chicken, even modern fusion creations. Today, whether baked or fried, filled with potato, chicken, or sardine, the curry puff remains a beloved part of Singapore's food identity. It is way more than just a snack. It's a piece of Singapore's history wrapped up in pastry. This is how curry puffs are made. Step 1. Preparing the filling. The potatoes are peeled and diced, and the boneless chicken sliced, before everything is sautéed with onions, curry powder, until wonderfully aromatic. A little flour is added to thicken the mixture, and then it's simmered with water until the potatoes soften and the filling reaches the perfect consistency. Okay, so curry puff filling, I mean, the most classic being that chicken curry, maybe mostly potato, a little bit of meat, sometimes some egg. Can we all agree that's kind of one of our favorite fillings?
I agree.
My favorite is the sayur, but if you're talking about a classic filling, when someone tells me curry puff,
Yeah.
that's the filling I think of first.
Nothing beats a mushy, spicy potato. Step 2. Making the dough. The water dough forms by gradually working water into the flour, while the oil dough comes together by mixing softened butter and margarine into flour until it's smooth and pliable. After resting, the oil dough is placed onto the flattened water dough and wrapped up like a dumpling, forming the layered structure that gives the curry puff its signature flakiness.
Do you think that more work and care goes into making the dough as opposed to the filling or any other component? I'm not sure about now, but for the longest time, the curry puffs were handmade and people were using their skills to literally shape the curry puffs that we enjoy. So, seems like the dough is like quite a masterful skill to have, if you ask me.
Initially, I thought the dough was the harder one to do. But until I see that the filling, right, actually there's so many ingredients. So I feel that the filling is harder to do, but the dough is perhaps harder to master in a sense where if you deep fry it too long, right, then it will spoil the dough also.
Okay.
To me, the dough is more sensitive. If there was something that you could do as a proprietary recipe that you try and prevent other people from figuring out and then copying, from a pure competitive advantage point of view, I feel as if the dough is what sets people apart. Step 3, shaping the pastry. To create the familiar spiral layers, the dough is rolled into an oblong sheet, then turned and rolled up like a Swiss roll. This process is repeated, with each fold trapping tiny pockets of air that form those flaky layers. The rolled dough is then sliced into equal portions. Ooh, so we just described the spiral style of making the curry puff dough, the one that gives you that concentric layers of very laminated, flaky pastry. That's my personal favorite style.
That type of curry puff is the hardest to master because of the intricacy.
Do you think that it resembles more like a epok-epok than a curry puff,
In
shape-wise?
some way, but slightly flakier.
If you were to hold a old chunky curry puff and a spiral curry puff side by side,
It would be more similar than an epok-epok and an old chunky curry puff.
okay.
I feel the thinness is what makes the epok-epok and the spiral style a little bit more similar in nature.
Yeah.
Step 4. Assembling the curry puff. Once the dough is rolled out, a spoonful of filling, along with a piece of hard-boiled egg, is placed in the center. The pastry is then folded over and sealed carefully. The edges are crimped, either by hand or with a fork, to keep the filling secure during cooking. Do you crimp or do you fork?
Some people say that, oh, you use fork to crimp, it's like taking a shortcut. Because when you crimp it with the fork, it basically kind of flattens the edges as well.
It's not so thick also at the side.
So thick.
I noticed that before we are so used to now seeing the indicator of a coloured dot, either a red dot or a green dot or whatever dot. If I see fork crimp, means it's sardine. If it's hand crimp, means it's potato.
Yeah, thinking about it, the fork one, right, is always sardine. Yeah.
Most of the time, even today, people still practice it.
Step 5. Cooking the curry puff. The curry puffs are deep fried until golden and crisp. As they cook, the pastry rises and turns a beautiful shade of gold. And just like that, the curry puff we all know and love comes to life. After all this talk about curry puff, which is your favorite curry puff spot?
Okay, so for me, there's this curry puff shop called Wang Wang Curry Puff in Old Airport Road Hawker Centre because it's always fresh batches. If you're lucky, you manage to take the current batch, the last few. But if you're unlucky, you need to wait 20 minutes for the next batch.
So you cook it in very small batches, which is why it's always fresh. So even if you
Yes.
get the end of one batch, it's still hot.
Yes.
Oh wow, okay.
I love that.
How about you, Bjorn?
My two favorite places have since closed down, unfortunately. One of them was called Indian Muslim Confectionery in the Juchet area.
Onan Road?
Onan Road,
Yeah.
yeah. As you're walking into the pavement, you see crumbs all over the floor because everyone's standing outside hunched over eating and the crumbs are falling everywhere.
100%.
Right? So super iconic spot back in the day. Unfortunately, they closed. I also had another favorite spot in Sunshine Plaza called Oven Marvel. Now that they're both gone, I just get my fix at TitBit. Yeah,
Try and test
the
it.
spiral style. But more importantly, the filling tends to be quite generous. It's mushy and moist, and I like it that way.
For me, I always go back to the classics that I grew up with. Like Epok-Epok Central, still my top choice. Bite size, I always call it a bite size one because it's 1-2 bites and you're done. It's crispy pastry. The filling is not so much because it's a smaller size, but you still get the flavour. It's something that I grew up with. It's something that I still enjoy today. Affordable, in a location that is convenient for me. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, quite diverse choices when it comes to our favourite.
Wow, we talked so much about curry puff, past, present. Where do we see it going in the future?
We are so used to the tried and tested versions that sometimes it's hard to see it being modified. Maybe, like you said, they might come up with a modification to the pastry. Maybe they might come up with a different way that you can actually cook the curry puff in an easier way without having to deep.
Poached.
Maybe, you never know, because moving along with the times, we're talking about ease of cooking and healthy living and all this. So deep frying, I think, as much as it's enjoyable, it may eventually go out of fashion one day. We don't know.
For me, the evolution of the curry puff, if we do see evolution, it will be a very slow evolution. And it would not be in such a big way with the filling being something like a viral filling or a trendy filling. It would be in the way that we make the crust or in the way that we make the filling. Who knows, one day it might not just be potatoes. It might end up becoming potatoes and something very subtle like garlic. So I think that if we see any long-term innovation that stays, it would be at the level of the crust and the filling.
Call me traditional or old-fashioned. I think the original curry puff, right? Perhaps no need to tweak it already. It's already like that already. Yeah.
Do you think it'll be more likely that if the curry puff were to evolve or to change, the filling is probably the easiest way that they can change things or try to upgrade, for example, a flavor? I mean, how long before we see someone try like a pistachio kunafa or marshmallow chocolate?
Why does that sound so good?
We are such a multicultural society, and I think food is one of the best ways that we can explore each other's cultures and enjoy each other's cultures.
Actually, to me, right, epok-epok, right, it reminds me of the makcik that sells it. They're always so nice.
So we associate that feeling with the food that we eat. It's
Sayang.
Exactly, right? You remember, it's not just enjoying the flavor, but the experience of me buying it from the local shop downstairs or going to the market, you know, and remembering the hustle and bustle when I was growing up, so exciting. And you associate it with that particular dish or that particular taste or that particular snack. I'm very grateful that we are able to easily explore other people's culture on top of our own and come up with it with such a positive outlook on how things could be in the future.
Curry pop!
Curry pop! Chop, chop, curry pop!